Camera. There we go. That's a lot better. What's going on, guys? Welcome to live. Had to get a little fan going. Had to get a little more light in here. That looks good. We're good to go. Let me get the link here, share this out, and we're going to get going. Share this to the Hotshot groups here real quick. Boom, boom. Hope you guys are having a good day, though. Everyone is here. Welcome to the live stream. Let's see if they let this through here. I bet they won't. TC Campos does not like me for some reason. Oh, it's a group by him, too. One second, guys. I'll be right back. Good. All right, we are here, guys. Let you guys know who's watching. If you need some consultation or you want some better links to my videos where it has kind of like a description of what they are, go to howtohotshot.com. That is my channel. I'll be adding a lot more to that here soon. We're going over a couple of ebooks right now that we're basically taking some videos that I've done and just expanding them even more and forming them into an ebook. The first one we're doing is trucking insurance. So it's going to be really cool because I had my insurance broker, Chase, who's a really awesome guy, had him look it over. He added some stuff. And I think we're actually going to do an interview soon because there's so much to know about trucking commercial insurance that people just don't know until it's too late. And problems that can occur. I mean, we just hope those problems don't occur, right? But sometimes they do, and we get caught up in some nonsense. But if anybody has any questions, let a brother know. I got some popcorn. I've been using this new site. I've been trying a couple things out. It's called Opus Clips. You like put your video in there and it clips out like these little segments, like 30-second, a minute segments. And it does really good. And it's really quick. And so I can like plan all these little quips, like little important parts of these videos, you know, for the shorts, because the shorts are like where YouTube is going, you know, that's where everything's going. It's just shorts. So it works out really well. But welcome to the two people that just showed up. Welcome to the live stream. If you got any questions, drop them down below. We'll get into it. Yeah, here to answer everything. But hopefully the ebooks, we'll make a good amount of ebooks, and they'll just be like easy to process information, but stuff that you don't really talk about much. I think that's what I want them to be, especially with the insurance one. I mean, there's so many things that I've learned. Like, for example, finance companies with insurance. Like, who would have thought that there would be an issue? But obviously, most of us start with Progressive. If you're on the road right now and have a new authority, most likely your insurance company is Progressive. And Progressive has its downfalls, but it also is pretty easy to use. It's easy to add drivers, take drivers away. They do in-house financing, so when you make a change to your policy, it's automatic. They're not going through a third party company for the financing. But once you get like 2 years of active authority, and you start going into you get 2 years of active authority, and then you start going into let me see this. You start going into different insurance companies, right? Then you find an insurance company that does have a third party finance, and the insurance has third party finance, for example, and you're like, oh, it doesn't matter to me, does it? I don't care who's paying for up front. But then you go to make a change to your policy. Let's say you leased a couple people on, and they're not running for you anymore. One time we took a truck off that was leased to my company. We took him off the policy because his truck had broke down. He's not going to run for us anymore. He's waiting to get another truck, and it took 90 days for my monthly rate to change. So for 3 months, I had to come up with his insurance payment. After the 3 months, they did prorate. They made my payments after that less because I had overpaid. But when you're talking $1,300 a unit, it's hard to just come up with that out of nowhere, right? Monthly. But I mean, that's just part of the game and something you don't know about, right? And people hate on Progressive, and I'm with Northland right now, and I think they're the best insurance company I've ever had, hands down. They're very easy to pay. They're affordable. We got a semi-truck driver trailer for trucking liability and $250,000 in cargo. His payment's $1,100 a month. Like, not bad at all. But I mean, if you can get your units to be at $1,100 a month, that's not a bad insurance rate. But it's more difficult with Hotshot, obviously, especially non-CDL. People don't understand that sometimes your non-CDL rates are going to be higher than full-size trucking rates. But people talk about how Hotshot Trucking costs less than like running a full-size semi-truck, like maintenance and everything. And the truth is, yeah, it's going to cost like a less dollar amount, but percentage of gross is going to be higher. So you'll make more money with the semi-truck, but you're also going to spend more money on maintenance. You'll make less money with the Hotshot, but you're also going to spend less money on maintenance. But with the Hotshot, it's going to be a higher percentage of your gross that you're going to spend on maintenance. So it's going to take up more. It's going to take up more of your monthly gross. So people say, oh, well, yeah, it does cost less. It does cost less. But the thing is, what percentage? Like, for example, I talk about Hotshot. When you buy a Hotshot truck, F350, F550, whatever, 3,500, you're running it brand new, you're going to pay $75,000 for 300,000 miles. That's pretty much how you have to look at it, right? If you get 300,000 miles out of that truck, you did pretty well with it, okay? Sometimes you get a little more, sometimes you get a little less. Sometimes you want to put tons of money into it again and try to get more out of it, whatever. But think about what percentage of the life, 1 mile is of that truck, right? 1 mile, if it's 300,000 miles, 1 mile would equal, what would that be? Like 0.3%, 0.03%. Don't check my math there. Anyways, but when you buy a semi-truck, you could spend exactly the same amount of money on it, but get 500,000 miles out of it, right? And so you can afford to have, let's say, for example, 25,000 miles on that truck that you didn't get paid really well for, whether, it was a bad market, bad economy, which could happen. But with the Hotshot, you don't have that much room with it, right? And so you have that truck, and it's like you need to get paid good for every single mile because you only have 300,000 miles. You only have 3 years with it. And if you have a bad year, you only have 2 years left to either make enough money to buy another truck, pay that truck down enough, or be able to get out of it, right? I've seen so many times where people buy equipment and they get stuck with it because they owe too much money on it. And they put so many miles on it, and they didn't make enough money to overpay the monthly payment. It's like that's the biggest issue I see. People get stuck. They push these loans out on these equipment for 5, 6, 7 years, right? And it's like you're only getting probably 3 years out of that truck if you run 3 years hard. And so if you're making the minimum monthly payment 3 years down the road, you're still going to have 3 more years on that loan. You've only paid half of that truck off, but that truck's only worth like, 15,000 with 300,000 miles, maybe 20, but you owe 35, 40 on it. It's very difficult. Put you in a tough situation, my friends. Welcome to the live. If you have any questions, drop them down below. I'm kind of just rambling at the moment. If you haven't been to the website, go to howtohotshot.com. Check it out, my friends. Oh, but yeah, we've been getting after it. Hopefully, you guys. So I'll be posting. I'll have 2 shorts going on. One at 10 a.m. One at 5 p.m. I'm hoping to have probably 3 videos. I'm hoping 3 videos out a week, but if we can get 2 out a week, we're doing pretty all right. If you haven't been to my other YouTube channel, Brother Jason Love, go check that one out. That's my preaching channel. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the live stream. If you have any questions, drop them down below. Tell me where you're watching from. If you want to dig deep into how to hotshot, let's do it. Let me know where you're at on your hotshot journey. How's everything going? Is freight looking good out there? Is freight looking bad out there? What's going on? Popcorn. If you guys haven't checked out my most recent video, just dropped it today. Kind of some tips on dealing with a brand new authority. You know, right now, it is crazy to get into trucking with a brand new authority. Very difficult to find loads and very difficult to survive, but insurance is very expensive. So just kind of gave some tips on what I would do if I was starting with a brand new authority. And a big part of it is you can't be focused on the load boards. If you're getting a brand new authority, you got to, first thing I would do if you're in a small town or whatever town you live in, a giant town, I live in a small town, but figure out what the need of your community is. Like, for example, I live out in the Ozarks, Missouri, and there's a lot of sawmills, a lot of wood to be moved. It's not the best paying, but a lot of lumber. We also have a big steel manufacturer here that does like the steel wire reels that they put plastic piping on, the plastic piping that they run electrical through for houses when they do buildings. And so we move a lot of those. And so it's like, for me, it's like if I can have a 48-foot flatbed, 53-foot flatbed, 53-foot step deck, there's a need here locally for trucks to haul lumber and trucks to haul those steel wire reels. And now both of those I can haul, without getting on the load boards. I can go locally to them and say, hey, how can I move for you? And if they are using a broker, then contact the broker they're using. Try that. But sometimes you can find more local brokers that don't operate so much with like the typical brokers that are on load boards. But the typical brokers you're going to see, obviously they're going to have like 6-month restrictions, year restrictions. I've ran into some with 2-year restrictions, right? And it's like, oof, you're really, really out there, putting it down. But you have to be able to find that local freight if you're going with a brand new authority. And the benefits of leasing on, right? Lease on the program that's already running good. You don't have money issues. Oh. Welcome to the live stream, my friends. If you have any questions about Hotshot Trucking, non-CDL, CDL, or semi-trucking, drop them in the chat. I'll try my best to answer any questions you have. Or if you're just here hanging out, let me know where you're from. Let me know if you're out there trucking right now or what's going on with you. Pizza rolls already? Already have a drink. Thank you, my love. What do you got? I got one. I got two now. All right. The wife just brought me some dinner, my friends. I think these are the same ones I already looked at. Yeah. True. Robert Kiyosaki wrote, being an entrepreneur is simply going from one mistake to the next. That's kind of true. But I kind of figuring stuff out, though. That's the cool thing about it. That's something I realized, too. It's like very difficult. Obviously, just having a business in general is very difficult. There's a lot of things you don't know, a lot of things you're going to learn the hard way. And you can bring people down around you, and you don't want to hurt your family. You don't want to hurt your wife. You don't want to hurt your kids, but you're trying to provide them a better way of life. And sometimes it doesn't work out completely like you thought it would. And it's difficult. Put you in a tough situation. Let's see what's going on here. Welcome to the live stream. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the live stream. Let me get a new chair. But yeah, if you haven't watched my most recent video, I definitely invite you to go do so. Tips on if you're getting a brand new authority. I know a lot of people are still wanting to go get their own authority route. I don't think it's a terrible idea, but you have to do it in a smart way. And it's tough out there even for established authorities, right? So I think if you're going to get your own authority, definitely look at your local area first. That should be step number one. What is here in my local area? What needs are here? Does my truck fit the need here? Maybe you have like a company there that makes generators and they haul 7,000-pound generators around, and maybe they only haul like one at a time, or they have a big need for like the partial one generator at a time loads, and you're like, oh, I can have a non-CDL 20-foot trailer that would work pretty well for this. But I mean, I wouldn't build my whole company around there, but if you can get something going with them and start like that, that's not terrible. It's not a bad idea. Welcome to the live stream. If you have any questions, drop them down below. We'll get into it. Let's look at some questions here. All right. So it says here, how do I stay DOT compliant from the start? That's a good question. How do I stay DOT compliant from the start? How do I become DOT compliant? Well, first thing I would tell everybody is definitely do your research on the paperwork you need to have in your truck. We're so blessed to have the internet. You can Google search it, you can YouTube search it. Many people are going over what paperwork you need to have in your truck, and make sure that you have your annual inspections. One thing that's important, and this I kind of realized this, I when I first started, when it's like, oh, I need a DOT inspection on my truck and DOT inspection on my trailer, like your annual inspections. I'm like, where do you get those from? Nobody even talks about where to get them. And then you realize, oh, basically any diesel mechanic shop will give you a DOT inspection, especially for a hot shot, right? So make sure you have your annual inspections and make sure you have all the paperwork you need on your truck, and make sure that you're staying up with upkeep. There are little stupid things that'll put you out of service and cause big issues. Little stupid things like a tire being underinflated, one of your marker lights will be out, and this stuff happens all the time on the road. Like a marker light, whether the road's rough and it kind of messes with the wiring a little bit, or it gets corroded, or a wire gets cut for whatever reason, your marker light goes out. I mean, you're going to spend some time fixing that stuff on the side of the road, and you need to know how to fix it, right? Because you cannot spend that time, that crucial time, going to shop and paying shop rates to fix dumb things. So staying DOT compliant is very important. Have the paperwork in the truck that you need to have your annual inspections, and also make sure you know how to fix the dumb little things that can put you out of service. Make sure you know how to use your ELD and you're not playing any games. Like learn the ELD laws. Know how long you can drive. Know how to use personal convenience. Learn these things. Put some time into it. So that's be my answer to that question. How to stay DOT compliant. And also understand your equipment and don't overload yourself. This is something very important. People look at gross vehicle weight rating. And I know gross vehicle weight rating isn't the easiest thing to understand. Sometimes, it's kind of weird. Like, why do they have these numbers? And that's not what they actually weigh. It's what they're rated to weigh. But when you get into the hotshot game, this is different. Semi truck's a little bit easier because most trucks are rated, trailer truck, 80,000 pounds. That's what you're rated for. No questions. You probably weigh, 26,000 pounds unloaded, or 30,000 pounds unloaded. You can haul about 40, 45, 48, depending on what trailer you're working with, right? But with hotshot, right? Let's say, for example, you're a non-CDL guy. You're rated at 26,000 pounds and you weigh roughly, 13.5, 14. So you say, oh, I can haul 12,000 pounds. You can haul 12,000 pounds, but that weight has got to be distributed properly on your trailer. Not every 12,000 pound load is created the same. All right. That weight has to be distributed on your trailer properly. Why? Because if you have too much weight on an axle, like a trailer axle, or if you have too much weight on the rear axle of your truck, you can be considered overweight. So if you open your door on your truck, you'll see your GVWR tag, your VIN tag. It'll tell you your GVWR, but it'll also tell you the axle ratings. The axle ratings are very important. So when you're doing hotshot, you are playing a little bit of a game with that, having to understand your trailer, where the weight should be on your trailer. And that makes a big difference because, you might go up and say, I can do 12,000 pounds. And it's like this small coil that's 11,000 pounds and 5 feet. Your trailer probably can't handle that, number one, but you're definitely probably going to put yourself overweight with something like that, unless you know exactly where to distribute it. And it happens in the semi world too. There'll be times where you have too much weight on a rear axle. And, if you can slide your axle, you do. If you can slide your fifth wheel back, you do, If you have room there, you find the room. So yeah, make sure you don't overload yourself. That's something that's very, very important. Understand where to put the weight. Make sure you're going over scales. Make sure you're not running, the actual scales. Should I start with a hotshot setup or buy a semi? So this is a question that I've answered plenty of times. Do I think there's money in hotshot trucking? I definitely do think there's money in hotshot trucking. My biggest problem is with the equipment, how long the equipment's going to last you. When we've run so many different types of trucks and trailers, the true reason that we went semi truck is because we thought we could make more money over the long haul, right? It's like when you're a business owner, you're investing in equipment, and that equipment can be a liability, right? So you want to invest in good equipment that's going to last a while, that you can get your miles out of, right? And you want to make money on those miles. And we've realized with the semi truck, they just last a lot longer. They haul a lot more freight. They're built to do what you're doing with them, and you can make more money. There's more loads that pay better with a semi truck. Obviously, there are downsides. There definitely are. And so we looked at, a lot of times a single axle kind of, what do they call them? The middle class. What do they call them? Single axle. Oh gosh, I forget the name. It's basically just a single axle semi that has it has a bigger motor in it, right? So you're getting like kind of a bigger motor than what you'd find in a F350. You're getting a bigger transmission. There's a motor and transmission that were built to, haul weight. And you get a 53-foot step deck, you can haul about 34,000 pounds, and you just focus on hauling equipment, right? You're just, you do lighter equipment hauling. And I think you can make pretty good money with that. And that would be considered a form of hotshot in my mind. But that truck is just better equipped, better built to move the weight that you're moving with it, right? And that's the biggest issue. Like these trucks were not designed to be in tow haul mode for 10,000 miles a month. They just were not for it. Can they do it? Yes, they can. And how long can they do it, right? We've had trucks that you've had to put a new transmission in, 50,000 miles, another transmission, 120,000 miles. And yeah, they got warranty, but the time off the road, guys, is what's going to toast you. Some people say, oh, the cost of the repair. The cost of repair is not the end of the world. If a repair costs $3,000, you can make that in 2 weeks, 2 good weeks. What costs you is the time off the road. So if that warranty work, you might get the fix for free, but it takes 3 months or 2 months to fix it. It'll murder you. It'll end your company, guys. So I think there's money there, but the equipment, I have an issue with the equipment coming from the business owner side of it. How do I budget for maintenance and fuel? That's a good question. So for maintenance, what I do, if I'm going to budget for maintenance, I usually do 10% of gross. I think 10% of gross is a good number for maintenance. Hopefully we don't have to spend that every month. But if you're doing hotshot and you're doing 10,000 miles on your truck every month, you're getting oil change every month. That's happening, right? And then obviously you're going to have to switch tires. You're going to have to do a lot of preventative maintenance type of stuff. But if you do 10% of your gross, hopefully, we're hoping you don't have any major breakdowns. Then what you can do, take the money that you have gotten, you have put together over the last 6 months because you haven't had any big breakdowns. Then you have a kind of a goose egg. So when you do have a big breakdown, you have a little bit of a goose egg there you can work off of. But if you get to the point where it's time for a new truck, there's your down payment, or there's to pay your trailer off, or there's to pay a big chunk against the truck so you can move on to your next setup. I don't think hotshot with like an F350 or diesel dually is like the end goal. I don't think that should be your end goal, right? If that's how you get into trucking, that's how we got into trucking. But you want to move up to bigger equipment that's going to last longer, that you can build a profitable system around, because we're trying to build profitable systems here. We're not trying just to make a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, guys. So that's how I do maintenance. 10% of gross every month I would put aside for maintenance. Fuel, obviously fuel, you should definitely have a fuel card. Okay. If you don't have a fuel card, you need to get a fuel card. I can give you a good link. But if you lease on to somebody, that's a benefit of leasing on. They should give you a fuel card with a good discount, because they should have multiple trucks so they can get that discount. If you're just running a one truck operation, you're not going to get the best deal in the world with that fuel card. But you can build up, right? If you stay like when we got with RTS, and RTS is just the provider of a Fleet One fuel card, right? They're like, that's all they are. I have a card that says RTS on it, but it's just a Fleet One card. And over time, we were using so many gallons. I went back and said, hey, can you get us a better deal? Or I would go to like Love's or to TCS or these other fuel cards, and I would say, hey, I have 3 trucks. We're doing this many gallons. What's the best deal you can give me? They would give me their best deal. I would take that deal back to my RTS guy. My RTS guy would then beat that deal for me. And then it got to the point where we're like, hey, really, what is the best deal you can do? Having 6, 7 trucks on the road, what's the best deal you can do? And he's like, well, if you just stick with Pilot Flying J, I can give you the rack price of fuel, meaning how much they pay for fuel. And so I was like, that's pretty awesome. And so we're like, yeah, we'll stick with just Pilot Flying J. So what we did was we limited our where we can fuel up at, but there's basically Pilot Flying J's everywhere. We limited where we can fuel up at, but we got such a better discount. And the discount average is like 60 cents off a gallon, right? So if you're going out and getting your fuel card, get your fuel card, maybe it's 20 cents off a gallon. And then, after like 6 months of making your payments on time, using fuel, look for a different fuel card and then go back to your original guy and be like, hey, what's a better deal you can do? And they probably can get you a better deal. They'll want to keep your you as a customer if you're a good customer. And then as you keep building that and building that and building that and getting better deal until you get the best deal possible. What we did was we have that fuel card, Pilot Flying J, and that's where we're going to fuel up, 90% of the time. But I also did get a Love's fuel card just as a backup. So my guys are somewhere where they don't have a Flying J at all. They still have a fuel card they can get Love's. But Love's only gives you 16 cents off a gallon, so it's nothing really good. But big but here. With the Love's fuel card, they gave me a Love's charge account for tires and oil changes and stuff. So if we need a tire on the road, if I need an oil change on the road, let's say we break down the side of the road, I have a charge account where they'll do the work for me, charge the account. I have 30 days to pay. So it definitely helps out a little bit in that case right there. But that is my answer. Maintenance and fuel card. Do you guys have any questions? Drop them down below if you do. I'm just rattling off of some questions I already have. Should I use a dispatcher or self-dispatch? Another good question, guys. Should I use a dispatcher or self-dispatch? Right now, there are a lot of quote-unquote dispatchers who are not dispatchers, right? I think all of India has realized that dispatching is pretty easy and they can make good money doing it. And so they've just started running after it. I mean, if they're good, right? Who cares where they're from? But they don't speak good English and they're not going to represent your company that good. With how many scams there are out there, if they're the one calling the brokers on your behalf, they're probably going to get turned down a lot and get your company flagged. Just saying, because there's a lot of scams out there. So brokers are trying to be on top of that when they get called by weird numbers and all that stuff with foreigners. And no offense. I mean, I don't think every foreigner is a scammer, but, they get a bad rap when a good chunk of them are scamming. But so, yeah, I definitely wouldn't do that. If you can find a local-based guy, when I'm doing dispatching, I think 5% of gross is a good rate to pay a dispatcher. And if you can have somebody in your corner that is going to bat for you always and is there for you, that is very beneficial. But you can also dispatch for yourself. And dispatching for yourself can be beneficial. It can work good. But sometimes, especially in the hotshot world, the times where you're going to find the best freight is going to be like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., right? 7 a.m., sometimes, depending on where you live. And because you got to think about when brokerages open. They open at 8 a.m. on the East Coast, right? So if you live on the West Coast, you better be getting up at 5, right, or 6. But I live in Central Time, and so 7 a.m., we're on the boards. But what are you doing if you're driving your truck? You're either probably driving your truck, finishing a load you're already on, or getting unloaded. So if you're hopping on the load boards at 11, noon, or 1, you've missed a lot of really good loads. And obviously, you shouldn't be looking at your phone trying to book a load while you're driving. So it's yeah. So you need having somebody in your corner is beneficial. If you're in a semi-truck, right, if you're going big rig, you have a little bit more leeway because you can book a longer loads that are paying better. You have a little bit more time. You have a little bit more availability of freight. So it's not as big a deal if you miss those high-quality loads. You can still get a good quality load. But with the hot shot, it's just those high-quality loads are so, they're neither here nor there sometimes. And so it's just difficult, right? So you got to be on top of it. So find you a good dispatcher, put them in your corner, train somebody, right? That's another thing is I have a dispatcher training course. It's have somebody learn how to be a dispatcher that's close to you. Maybe somebody who lives at your house and say, hey, or maybe your wife only works part-time and she wants to supplement her income and wants to help you out. She can be your dispatcher, train her up. She works from home. That is having a dispatcher that personally that is in your corner, looking out for the best for you is very, very beneficial. What do I know about Resolute Logistics? Oh, Chris, welcome, my friend. Thank you for the question. What do I know about Resolute Logistics Hotshot Dispatch? Chris, I don't know anything about them. Never heard the name till right now. But if you have information about how they operate, drop it down below, and I can open into that a little bit and see if that's a good deal or not. The problem is, and this is another thing, guys, I talk about with Hotshot. It's like we talk about, oh, the cost to operate a Hotshot is so much lower, right? But yes, you're making less money. So when you're in a full-size semi-truck, you can find a dispatcher for like 4% of gross, and they want to dispatch for you because they know how much easier it is to find loads for that setup, right? So even though they're only getting paid 4%, they're usually making more money because they can get bigger loads. But dispatchers on the Hotshot side, you find them for like 8% or 7% or 6% of your gross, and they're usually making you less money, and you're paying them more, right? And so it's all a percentage game, right? I want to keep my profit percentage as high as possible. So I want the lowest dispatch percentage that makes enough sense for my dispatcher, for my company. I want my fuel cost to equal out to the lowest percentage. I want the driver pay to be an appropriate pay for my driver, but I don't want to be overpaying. Like, all of this works out to profit margins. But Chris, if you know how much they charge, drop that down below, and I'll kind of give you my 2 cents on it. But thank you for the question. Any other questions? Drop them down below, guys. They charge 5%. That's not terrible. I mean, are they foreigners or are they American? The biggest thing you need to know is when you have a dispatcher, if you go with them, Chris, figure out where the guy who's dispatching for you actually lives. Because he lives in California. That can be an issue, right? Because when do brokerages open? They open at 8 a.m. on the East Coast. 8 a.m. on the East Coast is 5 a.m. California time. So if he's getting up at 8 a.m. California time, to him it's just normal. That's 11 a.m. Am I doing right math? Yeah, that's 11 a.m. He's like, that's not going to work, right? So if you can find a good guy on the East Coast that can wake up at 7, and get on the boards hard for you and keeps you loaded at 5% and is from America, I think it works out really well. Yeah, so figure out where the guy who's going to dispatch for you lives and how many trucks he's already dispatching for. The thing is, though, and a big red flag you have to look out for is when a dispatcher says, hey, we have high quality paying loads. We need trucks. A dispatcher legally cannot have any loads. They're not a broker. They don't have a broker's authority. They don't have a bond. The dispatcher brings the truck to the table. The broker brings the load to the table. So you have these people who are posting on Facebook, oh, we have all these high-paying loads. We're looking for trucks. No, they're just a dispatch service. They don't have any loads. They're just trying to get you under their wing for a high percentage, and they're going to find loads off the load board for you. That's all they're going to do. They don't have any loads. And if they do have loads, it's illegal. They're not a broker. They're probably making a percentage off of you, and they're probably taking a cut off the load. And there's no safety net there, right, for you. Like, if you don't get paid from them, it's not going to work out for you. Just remember, dispatcher brings the truck to the table. Broker brings the load to the table. If a dispatcher says, I have loads, they ain't got nothing. Let's see here. What's up? What's the best load board for beginners? I mean, if you're doing Hotshot, any type of Hotshot, if you're doing any type of Hotshot, guys, and you need a load board, I would go Truck Stop. So I use Truck Stop and DAT Trucker's Edge, but I realized DAT Trucker's Edge basically is just reposting everything that's on Truck Stop. So it really depends on what type of equipment you have. Like dry van, I'd go DAT over Truck Stop, but for Hotshot, definitely Truck Stop. Iron Mule says, my dude, what a crazy time you got into trucking. You've been through it all. I did the Hotshot thing, but high fuel prices and low rates drove me out. Dude, I understand, Iron Mule, man. I got into trucking in 2020, bro. I got into trucking in 2020. We've been through it all, but you kind of live and you learn. Like I got into it kind of the tail end of when it was good, and then it's been bad pretty much ever since. Not terrible, but it's not like the time of old. But Now fuel's getting lower. We got bigger equipment that can haul more and gross more on average, and we have the company established, so it works out a little bit better. Chris says, thanks for all the info, listening from work. Well, Chris, thank you for being here, my friend. Good to hear from you again. But yeah, Iron, we have been through it all, man. We have learned a lot from going through it. Yeah, I know we have. I remember you for sure. I try to be a straight shooter, guys, because like it's hard, and like I would feel terrible if I was like hyping somebody up to get into like a terrible situation. So I just have to be truthful about it. Like, like if I don't think it's a good idea, I'll tell you, but you don't have to listen to me, right? Like if you want to go after it, go after it. I don't care. I had a guy. Oh, I want to read. Let me read this comment. This guy. Let me read this comment. His guy left for me. So you know how I make every year. I make, should you get into Hotshot Trucking? And the last years I've said no, don't do it. Not right now. If you want to, lease on to somebody. Don't try to go get your own authority and make it happen because of how brokers are and stuff. That's just what I think. He said this. He said, LOL. He's like talking like he's me. I own a hotshot company. Do I want competition? No. So I made this video to keep you other guys considering working for yourself to not be my competition because I care about you. And then I commented, you honestly think there would be competition? Like, do you honestly think that like somebody going out and getting on one truck or starting in trucking, like that's really going to affect anything that I'm doing at all? Like we're really going to butt heads, or like we're going to show up at the same place and we're going to fight over the same loads? Like, no, I mean, like, I just think that's so crazy, right? But it's just funny because I'm like, bro, have you not watched the other 150 videos I've made? Like, I've been running this long con, guys. It's been a long, long con I've been running on all of you guys to get you out of trucking because I want to take over the whole market. That's what I've been doing the whole time. He caught me though. He's good. He's on top of it. But any other questions, my friends? I'll be on for a little bit longer here. If you are interested in a one-on-one consultation, go to howtohotshot.com. It says a lot of hype when those were good by a lot of YouTubers and the reality kicked in. Funny, none of those that hyped it all up aren't around. You survived. Congrats. Well, I survived a little bit. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like, oh, how can I explain it? It's like obviously having a business in general is difficult, right? Whether it's trucking or something else, But as I came to realizations with how my system was working, it's kind of like, okay, I need to make changes so I don't run into these issues. Or I ran into an issue and I'm like, okay, how do we not run into that again? And then I started kind of, building around that. But I realized very quickly that it's not a numbers game and like how many trucks you have. It's a lot more about how those trucks are performing. I'd much rather have two trucks that are performing really well running for me than have 7 trucks and have 3 of them down and have to focus on getting the insurance paid because they're not running and all this nonsense. So if you can get 3 good solid setups that can haul with 3 good solid drivers that and they have semi trucks, 53-foot step deck with ramps, and they have a huge variety of freight, like they're going to be able to survive bad markets and they're going to be able to thrive in good markets. And that's the problem with Hotshot is Hotshot has a very difficult time thriving in a bad market, or making it, not thriving, but making it in a bad market, surviving. But with a full-size semi truck and like a 53-foot step deck, you can survive a bad market, get out of it okay, still have life left in your equipment to make it when the going gets better, hopefully. But like right now, we see a drop in fuel. I think with my discount, we're averaging about like $2.90 a gallon on fuel, which is not bad compared to what we have been dealing with. And rates have been pretty much what rates have been. It's been working out all right. But I mean, I've had to come to the realization like, hey, I don't want really to deal with Hotshot anymore. And I don't want to lease on Hotshots. And if somebody comes to me, like, have these consultations, and, I don't think Aaron said the Hotshot truck can't last long enough to get to the next. Yeah, that's the problem, right? Biggest issue. People get 6-year loans. The truck only lasts 3 years, right? But I don't think it's a bad way to enter the trucking market, but it should be a stepping stone. And I would not if you have the ability, like the actual financial ability, and you've had a CDL, you have experience, you have a truck, and you have the financial ability to buy a semi truck or buy a hotshot truck for $75,000, I'd much rather, and I would tell somebody, I'd much rather you get a semi truck than doing that. But there's some people that are not in that position, and it's understandable. Or they don't want to drive a semi, they want to drive a smaller setup. There are better ways to do hotshot that I think can people can benefit from, and I think they can make it through. I'm not in the ring, my friend. I so I got married about 2 years ago, and since then I don't really train that much, but I am actually a full-time preacher. So I have my office at my church, and that's where I go to, and I do a good amount of my work there. And then I dedicate a lot of my time to the church and to the people and to Jesus Christ. So that's really what's going on now. I also have a small pest control business that we're kind of building up, and so I'm doing a little bit of pest control, not really that much. But between trucking, pest control, and preaching, that pretty much takes up most of the time, right? But my thing with fighting is I just got tired of my head hurting after practice from getting hit in the head too much, and I was like, I was just getting beat up. Edgar says, I'm doing hotshot. I'm leased on to somebody. He don't want to pay me. I'm loaded. What do I do? Edgar, I would go deliver that load, and then I would tell him I would turn in your resignation. That is what I would do, my friend. Because it's going to hurt you more to not turn that load in, because then you're going to be in a battle for no reason. I don't know how much he owes you, but I mean, get that load off you and then say, see you later. I'm not working with you anymore. Send him back what's his, and then find another company to lease onto. What kind of equipment do you have, Edgar? Edgar says, can I keep it until he pays me? I mean, dude, you can try, bro, but I mean, if it's that big of a deal to you, you want to pressure him into getting paid, that's fine. But think about this. What if you spend a week holding onto the load and he doesn't pay you still, and then you just wasted another week? So if he doesn't owe you that much money, I would deliver the load, dude, and get the heck out of Dodge. But if he owes you a lot of money, I would lawyer up. Do you have a copy of your lease agreement? And do you have copies of all the loads you've hauled that he owes you money for? That would be important. He owes you $3,000, so he owes you $3,000. So you probably spend he owes you $3,000. Let me think here. I'm just trying to think if it's worth getting a lawyer over that. I mean, I've lost a good amount of money from brokers not paying me. I've never been in the situation you're in, but it's kind of a middle ground, man. 50-50. You say cut your losses and get the heck out of there, which you need to do anyways. Oh, it's going to Salt Lake? Take it back to the shipper. Take it directly back to the shipper. Don't deliver it. How far are you from the shipper? I would be at the shipper's first thing in the morning. I'd say, get this load off of me, and I'd never talk to that guy ever again. Well, hold up. Shippers in New York? Dude, go back to New York. I bet you don't even have a New York hut. Yeah, hot tubs coming out of, where do those hot tubs come out of? They come out of, oh man, when I used to live in southern Utah, we'd haul out of Salt Lake a lot. Those hot tubs are terrible. Those hot tubs are the worst thing in the world. Yeah, they're out of Salt Lake, but they're out of a small town. Is it, oh, it's not Heber City. I forgot the name of the town. But lots of hot tubs. Okay, Edgar. This is what we do. Harriman, that's what it was. It's marble? Okay, Edgar, this is what we're doing, my friend. You're going to turn around right now. You're going to unplug your... No, okay, wait. Hold up. I'm not telling you to do anything illegal. I don't know how much time you have left. I'm not saying unplug your ELD. Okay, relax. Everyone calm down. I'm hyped up with you right now, Edgar. We're going to figure this out. Don't do anything illegal. Don't unplug your ELD. Don't... What I would do if I was in your situation, I don't know your situation at all, number one. You're telling me things, and I'm just going off of what you're saying. I don't know who you're leased onto, and I don't know if they actually owe you any money. I'm just putting that out there first off. But if I was in the situation that you're describing to me right now, I would take that load back to New York, and I would have you get unloaded. And I bet for a fact that load pays nothing. Going from New York to Salt Lake, 3 sheets of marble. And dude, you got to think about this too. That marble, Edgar, that marble is probably going to crack by the time it gets to Salt Lake. It's paying $2,000 to go to Salt Lake from New York. Is it a partial? Is he trying to get you another partial? Edgar, what's going on here, man? Is it paying you $2,000 or is it paying the truck $2,000 and he takes his percentage out of that? It has to be a partial, right? I mean, how many miles is New York from, or Salt Lake from New York? Okay. Dude, yeah, bro, it's a partial, dude. Who gives a crap? It's partial, it's marble, it's trash. Take it back. Yeah. There's no way that thing, because your trailer doesn't have air ride, I bet. Does your trailer have air ride? Prove me wrong here. Do you got air ride? Okay, yeah, dude, you don't even have air ride, bro. I bet that brokers require an air ride. But usually they do when it comes to marble. Okay, Edgar. Take it back to New York. The broker calls you. You tell him. Say, broker, the guy I'm leased onto has not paid me. He owes me this amount of money. I have to take this load back. I have to get it off my trailer. I'm sorry. It's a partial anyways. If it was that big of a deal, they would pay full-fledged rates to get it where it needs to go. But it's not. And it sounds like you're with a pretty trash company who's probably not going to end up putting anything else on your trailer anyways. That's such a terrible load. That is such a bad load. People are like, oh, yeah, I can pair these partials together and make good money. It's like, okay, you make $5,000 going there. You make nothing coming out of there. Anyways, Edgar, you take that bad boy back. You get it off your trailer. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get a lawyer. You're going to lawyer up. You're going to get your money from that man. But it could end up happening that the lawyer costs you more money than it's worth to get your money out of it. I don't know all that. But I'm just going off what you tell me. Like I said, I'm not giving you legal advice whatsoever. This is just what I would do if I was in your exact same situation. Get that load off your trailer right now. I mean, not right now. Don't push it off. Don't push it off. Take it back. You'll have more problems if you like damage it on purpose or like try to throw it off your trailer and do all that nonsense. You're gonna have more problems. We don't want him to like have to file a claim against you. You know what I mean? Or try some nonsense because obviously he's not paying you. So I don't know how much of a stand-up guy he is. Are you a non-CDL? What kind of equipment do you have? This is good stuff, Iron Mule. This is some drama. I'm just messing. I feel bad for you, Edgar. I really do. Yeah, so you got a non-CDL 35-foot trailer. Do you have a New York Hut? Do you know what New York Hut is? I doubt you do. Not because I don't think you have. You're not knowledgeable. I just doubt that the guy who's not paying you is going to go and get his New York Hut to actually go to legally to New York. Yeah, he don't got it. So hopefully you don't get pulled over in New York because you're supposed to have like a permit. Because New York has like an extra tax they charge for mileage usage there. It's called the New York heavy use tax. But you might not need it as a non-CDL hotshot. I think you do though. I think any commercial vehicle has to pay. It's a highway use tax or heavy use tax. I think it's highway use tax. Anyways, Edgar, buddy, that's what we're doing, man. Go to sleep. Wake up first thing in the morning. If he calls you, say, hey, I'm taking this load back. If the broker calls you, say, hey, this is why I'm taking the load back. Get that load off your trailer and just drive home, dude. And I apologize for the situation you're in, man. That sucks. But I'd also invite you, Edgar. This is what I would tell you to do after the fact. I would tell you to sign up for CDL school. And if you can't pay for it, maybe sign your life away for a year to a mega carrier, get experience over there, get your CDL, and then come back in a year and do this all over again with the semi-truck and trailer and lease onto an actual company that's actually going to pay you and actually make some money. Because this is the games that are played at the non-CDL level right here. Dude, I bet it's crazy, Iron Mule. The thing is, Edgar, I don't know how long this guy has owed you money, but it's like, that's a lot. Like, I've never, even in the darkest times of my company, the hardest times, it has taken probably one extra day to pay a lease on. That's like the darkest times of the company, right? Or I've had like huge breakdowns a day before or 2 days before. You've been out for 3 weeks? You've been leased on for 3 weeks? Yeah, no, get out of there, dude. It's done. It's over, bro. It's over. Then drive home. Sign up for CDL school. If you can't pay for it, find a company that'll pay for it for you. Get the experience. Get your CDL. Get your CDL, my friend. Get in a semi-truck, and if you don't like it, then you can just stop. Fuel card did not get hacked, my friend. He did not pay the fuel card bill. Yeah, you ain't getting paid. You got no fuel card. You got to get out of Dodge, bro. Red flags. Red flags, bro. Which I've had the fuel card turned off sometimes when, like, let's say your fuel card's like drafting it on a Monday and a Friday. You're paying your lease on Thursday. It's like you got to make sure that money's in there for Friday. And if it drafts and they kick the card off for the weekend, like that happens sometimes. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but yeah, Edgar, you get out of Dodge, bro. Get out of there. But yeah, take that load back. You got no fuel. So, bro, this is what's going to happen. How are you going to get to Salt Lake? He's going to want you to pay out of your own pocket for fuel, and he's going to reimburse you. But he already owes you money, Edgar. He's not going to pay you. Take the load back. Bro. I'm not telling you to like unplug your ELD. Drive to New York tonight. Or anything. But if I was in your situation, man, I would be at that shipper first thing tomorrow morning. And I would say, get this off of me. I'm done. Oh, you're just stop the load until he pays you. The thing is, though, Edgar, it's a partial. So, like, this broker probably has like and it's going all the way to Salt Lake. So I bet the broker's probably given, 5, 6, 7 days to deliver it, right? So this guy's got some breathing room. But it's over, man. It's so over, bro. Yeah, I'm grateful for you being here, Edgar. I'm glad that I'm able to help you. But this happens all the time, right? And this is what's going to happen with like people finding companies to lease on these Facebook pages. And But this is the problem, Edgar, with non-CDL hotshot. It's like, I'm telling you, you could be working as hard as you're working right now, but be a part of an actual good company, having your CDL, having a good setup that's going to actually make you money, and it's going to make your life's going to be a lot easier. Just go get your CDL, my friend. Do it. But Edgar, I'm telling you, the crazy thing is, bro, like if you were just going to go to Salt Lake and not worry about it, he'd probably owe you $5,000 by the time you get there. It'd be crazy. Dude's booking loads of marble to Salt Lake from New York. Get out of here, man. You probably could have paid enough to do that because I just know the fact that marble is going to crack before it gets there. Especially if you don't have air ride, which is wild for marble. Are they like leaning up against each other like an A-frame? Yeah, don't go to Salt Lake with them, bro. Don't go to Salt Lake. Yeah, the A-frame marble, dude, I stay away from the A-frame marble all the time because it's very easy to break. But I mean, you don't know any better though, my friend, and it's not on you. It's not on you. Like this is a learning experience, obviously. The guy who booked the load, though, it's his company. Though. I mean, it's his trucking authority. It's his insurance. So, I mean, it's not really on you at all. It's his cargo policy if it breaks. And it's anywhere from Danny. I covered 6. I know he got out of trucking, and I think he was working with a factoring company. He made a new YouTube channel, and was kind of like talking about this factoring company he was working with. I'm about to get off here in a couple minutes, guys. Spend time with my wife. But Edgar, I'll tell you this too, Edgar. Don't know what situation you're in, but if you want like a one-on-one consultation to kind of go deeper into your situation, I know you're in a bad situation with this guy, but if you want to kind of like go over some deeper stuff to kind of build your knowledge up a little bit so we don't get in this situation again, go to howtohotshot.com. All right. Fill out a consultation form and I'll contact you directly. And we could talk a little bit more. But we could build a good plan for you, bro, to where you can be successful in this market, you know. But it's not happening with what's going on right now. But if anybody has any questions, I'll probably do one more question if anybody's got another question. No one desire. Sorry. All right, guys. Well, if you have not gone to see my new Johnny says, I caught you too late. Hopefully I'll catch your live next time. How much are consultations? Yeah, Johnny, I'm going to get off here in a minute, my friend. But my consultations are as follows. So if you just want like an hour-long Q&A, like one-on-one, over Zoom, face-to-face, basically, going over every question you have, going over where you're at, what it's looking like, all of that. It's just $100 for 1 hour. But if you want to sit down and take as much time as we possibly need, 3-4 hours to go over every single thing and build a system for success for you, it's $250. So those are my 2 levels of consultation. And then once you're actually on the road, if you're getting on the road, and you want like ongoing consultation, basically put me in your corner, because all kinds of crazy stuff happens on the road, guys. Like, I've helped so many people when their truck breaks down to get the load off their trailer, to get them back moving, to get everything going there. I just do $250 a month to have like ongoing business consultation. And I help with dispatch. I help with, getting set up with brokers, all sorts of stuff. So go to howtohotshot.com. Check that out, guys. I'd love to, help you guys out as much as I can and just get you guys on the path to success, man. That's what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to play any games. We're trying to get this done. But awesome, guys. Howtohotshot.com. Check it out. Check out my recent video. I have 2 shorts coming every day for the next, I don't know how long. So check out the shorts when they get posted up, 11 a.m. or they get posted at noon and 7 p.m. I should have a video here shortly. Johnny said, I live in Reno, Nevada, and I'm interested. I have a truck available. I have my CDL. I've been watching your videos. Johnny, let's talk, man. Hit me up, How to Hotshot, bro. I think we could definitely get you on the road to success, whether you're wanting to lease on to somebody and kind of go over what a good lease on program looks like, or if you're wanting to go out and get your own authority and give you some tips and tricks on that and show you how to get it done. And like, once you have people, Johnny, that, are giving you lease on opportunities, right? You can present their packages to me, and I can tell you, hey, is this a good package or is this a bad package? You know what I mean? Is this something you should be going after? Or is something you shouldn't be going after? So, we'll go over every little thing, my friend. So go to howtohotshot.com, howtohotshot.com. I'll put it here again. Howtohotshot.com. That's the website, my friend. But yeah, man, fill that out, bro. And I even have time tomorrow if we wanted to make it happen. But whenever you're available, we can make this happen. Howtohotshot.com. All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. Check out the website. Check out the recent videos. I love you guys. Thank you guys for being a part of this channel. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And we will see each other probably tomorrow. We'll see you guys.